What's up, guys? This is Jermaine. Welcome back to my channel, The 91 Box. Now we're going to be looking into something about the resurrection of Jesus Christ. There's this channel I've been following for many years, Cross-Examined by Dr. Frank Turek. Love this guy. He's a scholar. He does apologetics. And in this video, he's going to be talking about, is the Jesus story stupid and the resurrection totally mythical? So he's kind of going to go through some things to kind of help you guys understand about the Jesus and the resurrection. Is it just mythical or is it stupid? Let's get into the video.
Why do I believe the resurrection occurred? Well, there's a lot of reasons. First of all, resurrections are possible. Why? Because the greatest miracle in the Bible has already occurred, the creation of the universe out of nothing. We have good scientific and philosophical evidence that the first verse of the Bible is true. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. If that verse is true, every other verse is at least possible. Now, what evidence do we have that the New Testament documents are telling the truth? To remember things, I like to alliterate them. So there are 6 lines of evidence that all begin with the letter E that will help you remember them. First of all, we have early testimony. Most, if not all, the New Testament documents are written prior to 70 AD. Second, we have eyewitness testimony. There's over 140 details just in the second half of the book of Acts and the Gospel of John that we know are eyewitness details that only an eyewitness could know.
Now, I actually want to point something out about that. This is just modern skepticism, if I'm being honest. A lot of people point out that eyewitness testimonies are not reliable. I hear people say that. However, the standard that they use to judge Christianity is actually faulty. Here's why. People say that, right? But when a crime happens and there are a number of eyewitnesses who are there, then people want to use eyewitnesses to prove that this person committed a crime. At that point, nobody wants to use a unfair standard with eyewitness testimonies. Now, I think a lot of people, they're not really educated on eyewitness testimonies. They think, oh, well, I heard someone say it's unreliable, so it's unreliable. Okay, well, when you are in court and they're presenting the evidence and they have witnesses, are you going to say, let's not use the evidence? So let's continue.
Thirdly, after early and eyewitness, we have embarrassing details. You go, what are embarrassing details? If there's something in the text that's embarrassing to the author or authors, it's probably true. Why? Because people don't like to make up embarrassing details about themselves. They like to hide them. Consider one particular embarrassing detail. At the crucifixion, the disciples run away while the women are the brave ones. Now, who wrote the New Testament documents down? Men. Now, what man is going to admit that he was hiding for fear of the Jews while the women went down and discovered the empty tomb? Nobody would do that. In fact, if they were making up the story, they would say they marched right down there and moved that elite Roman guard out of the way. And then they saw Jesus, who congratulated them on their great faith. And then they went and comforted the trembling women. They wouldn't make up the fact that they were cowards. This is not an invented story. There are several other details, too, that are embarrassing, not only in the New Testament, but also the Old Testament.
Okay, fun fact, guys, you guys look this up. In ancient times, women's testimony was valued lower than men. This is why he brings this up. In modern times, we don't think that because of the status of women today, but in the past, for a very long time, women's testimony was not valued as high. Let's continue. High in terms of high quality, high character, moral standard, that kind of thing. Let's continue.
Fourthly, we have excruciating testimony. We get that word excruciating. It means out of the crucifixion, which is the argument that says that these men who were in a position to know whether Jesus had risen from the dead died brutal deaths when they could have saved themselves by simply saying, no, it never happened. They were living excruciating lives. These Jews who thought they were God's chosen people, why would they do this unless Jesus had risen from the dead? They had
Okay. So I just wanted to show you guys that it's a very short video. I'm going to put the full video in the description box below. It's literally like a 4 minute and 55-second video. But essentially, this is why the resurrection of Jesus Christ is really the strongest argument for Christianity. Because here's the logic. If Christianity is true, and these Jewish disciples saw their itinerary rabbi come back from the dead, then that means that they can believe that, okay, life does not end here. My Lord and Savior, my rabbi, the one who I trust, he has the power of life and death. So I can die in this body, I'll come back to life again. And if he promised everlasting life for those who trust in him, that I can trust in that because he proved it by coming back to life. I've heard someone say, and I'm probably going to paraphrase it, I'm going to like butcher it. I have a general rule of thumb. I tend to believe people who come back, who predicted and come back from the dead, or predicted their death and resurrection and come back from the dead. I tend to believe people, who rose from the dead. Again, I totally butchered it, totally. But that's something to know about, is that these men were willing to die because they saw their leader die and come back again from the dead, showing that he has power over life and death, proving his divine attribute, his divine nature, the fact that he has his divine ability is resurrection. He can resurrect you. And he can also, like he said that he gives up his life. He can basically take away your life or give it back. He has that power. So that's it for this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share with your friends, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.